Guys, happy Sunday. Welcome back to Speaking 360. You're probably wondering why we're not in the studio as normal. We're up in Orlando, Florida for the John Maxwell team event. I'm speaking on day 3, so kind of getting my keynote ready for that. Going to be bringing some great speakers up on stage as well that I've been working with. And this is the first one we've done for 2 years, so you can see how the social distancing has affected the seating. Normally there'd be 3,500 people in this room for an event like this. The last one we did had about 3,500. Now there's only going to be 1,500, 2,000 because of the social distancing. When I first thought about that, I thought, how's this going to work? But going into the room this morning and walking around, it's going to be epic. It really is. Fantastic. So today, anyway, we're talking about 3 steps anyone can take to land their perfect job. So what's the kind of the process? We're just going to hit some of the tops of the waves of this real quick. So the first belief that people have that gets in the way is they say to themselves, well, I need to be the best candidate for the job. I need to be the best candidate. This is a myth. This is a myth. You don't actually need to be the best candidate. In fact, interviewing is not an exact science. And so it's not the best candidate that gets the job. We think it is. We always kind of think, oh, well, you know, and if you're an interviewer, you try and pick the best candidate, don't you? But actually, you're not picking the best candidate because it's not the best candidate that gets the job. It's the candidate that can best articulate their value that gets the job. This is a communication challenge, isn't it? It's not about your background and your job experience so much as it is about your ability to communicate and to let the audience know your value. It's the candidate that can best articulate their value that gets the job. So that's the first thing we've got to accept, the first thing we've got to realize. The second belief that people hold that causes problems is this: I need to know what they're going to ask me. I need to know what they're going to ask me. This is a myth as well. It's another myth. You don't need to know what they're going to ask you. You know roughly what they're going to ask you. You can buy books on this. There's all kinds of information on the type of questions that you're going to get asked. That's not the problem at all. See, a job interview is not conducted by the interviewer. It's not. We think it is. That's the process. But really, it's an opportunity for you to orchestrate your responses and to get in the information that you want. You're framing the perceptions of the interviewer, and you want to try and get the right information into their thinking, so they think differently about you. So the question you want to be asking is, what do they need to know about me so that they can offer me the job? Not what are they going to ask you, but what do they need to know about you? What do you need to tell them about you so they know you're the right person for the job? You see how it's all about our ability to articulate our value that determines who gets hired. And then the third belief, people kind of get attached to jobs. I've done this before, and I'm sure many of you have as well. I need this job. No, you don't understand. This job's perfect. I need this job. You don't need this job. This is just a job. There's plenty more jobs out there. This is a myth that you're only in love with one job. We've got to learn to think in probabilities. We've got to learn to think in likelihoods and be unattached to the outcome of any one of those particular activities, or in this case, any one of those jobs. Getting a job is a process. See, the fact is you may not be good enough. You may not be good enough to get your dream job. And when I say good enough, I mean you may not interview well enough. You may not have the interview skills. You may not be able to articulate your value. It may be that you don't have the value, but it's unlikely. It's probably your communication skills. So if you work on getting better at interviewing, then eventually you'll get the job that you want. So you may not be good enough yet, but if you move through a process and treat every interview as the training ground, then you're gradually going to get better. Every time someone asks you a question that you don't have a killer answer to, go home and research it. Write a great answer to that. Include some experiences of things that you've lived out and people you've helped. Create a great answer for that. Practice the delivery of that. Video yourself and watch it back. Audio record yourself, watch it back. And then you'll never get caught out like that again. In fact, you've turned it into a great opportunity the next time somebody asks you a question like that to really shine because you've done the work. So there's no shame in this. Like even Michelangelo, he said, if people knew how hard I worked to achieve my mastery, it wouldn't seem so wonderful at all. Isn't that the truth? And it's worth really putting in the work to interview well, because then you interviewing well is your independence, actually. It's your security. Your job security is in being able to get another job, not hoping that the same company keeps you forever. So getting good at interviewing is a great skill to develop. And if Michelangelo has to work hard to achieve his mastery, pretty sure that you and I do too. So look at it as a process. Every interview is training. Also interesting about Michelangelo is, you know, this picture of the statue of David here. We all know this statue, don't we? Or we all know this sculpture, or many of us do. It's very famous. But he actually worked on 44 different sculptures, and 30 of them are unfinished. That means that he got to the point where he thought, well, this is probably going to be a little bit more difficult than I thought, and he moved on. He went on to something else. But of the 14 that are finished, 2 are very, very well known, aren't they? And David perhaps the most well known. So with interviews, you don't need like 100% hit rate with one interview. You need to go on lots of interviews, and you need to keep getting better and better at that process. And you only need to get one. So it's worth putting an enormous amount of effort into getting the job that you want, because it's going to pay huge dividends for you for years to come. And then you'll do the same thing again and move on to the next one. So landing your ideal job is not an interview. It's not. It's a process. And if you move through that process, you'll grow. And you may not be good enough at first, but as you grow, you eventually will be. And so there's a quality that will come from quantity as you keep getting better and better and better. This is true of everything. Really, an interview is a performance. It's for you to show off how great you are. Show off in the best way. You don't want them to know that you're showing off, but it's for you to put into their consciousness ideas about how good you are and your values and what sort of person you are and your attitude and all of those good things. And that takes time. Jimmy Durant said, no one realizes I work 18 hours a day for a month to make that hour of TV look like it's never been rehearsed. A month. So the important thing from our perspective here is to make it look like it's never been rehearsed, because we want to believe that it's just him being himself, don't we? That's, us, the audience, or the interviewer. The interviewer wants to believe it's just you being yourself. So you're going to put this work into rehearsal and practicing and finding the right way to describe things. But we don't want them to know you've put in all this work. So we want them to think this is just you being you. So you can get the job of your dreams if you're prepared to get good at interviewing. And that's basically communication. It's speaking. And this is something that is a learnable skill and everyone can learn. That's it for this week. Thanks for being a part of Speaking 360. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please share the link, www.speaking360. Like the videos as well and comment on the videos. That all helps us get the message out and help more people with these free videos. Thanks, guys. See you soon. I'll post some more pictures and videos as the event goes on so you can get a feel like you're here too. Take care. Bye-bye. God bless.